hustle. Some people had brains, some people had muscle. Some people had both, a dangerous combination. A couple steps ahead of any sticky situation. Know when to make the move and know when to stay and be patient. And just because you're flesh and blood doesn't make you related. She used to tell me a story about the amazing glaze. Him and your pops was like brothers, but that nigga was crazy. Me in early, late 80s, Brooklyn the murder capital. Where it wasn't frowned on if you had to bust a cat or two. Just keep it rational, never radical. Watch your attitude, and if you made it out and show you.
Shooting overnight in Boston in which his future brother-in-law was killed. Maureen Boyle has the details on the latest trouble for the husband of Whitney Houston.
This is Bobby Brown's cream-colored Bentley. You can see the bullet holes and the blood on the front seat. It happened early this morning in Boston's tough Roxbury section. Bobby was standing next to his car outside this seedy bar. His sister's fiancé, Stephen Seeley, was sitting inside. When a gunman opened fire, Seeley was hit in the head and chest. He died a few hours later at Boston City Hospital.
Bobby Brown just happens at this point to be a witness. If it turns out to be something else, we'll find that out. We'll look into that.
Spokesman Robert O'Toole says right now police have no motive and no suspects.
You know, I'm not afraid to be Bobby. I'm not afraid to say or do anything that, you know, I feel like doing.
That's Bobby talking about his bad boy image on the set of his new movie, Thin Line. Bobby's had many run-ins with the law. Last month.
You had a friend that was fatally shot. He was sitting in your Bentley. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah.
So what happened? It was mistaken identity?
No, they wanted him dead. I don't know why. I don't know the gist of what happened.
Right.
But I just know that it was just.
You were in your hometown. You were back home, right?
Boston, Massachusetts, yes. I'll never forget that moment. Never. 178 bullets was in the car.
178? Damn.
And I didn't get scratched once.
Hold on. They fired 178 rounds into a car, and not one bullet touched you.
Not one bullet. That's how I know I got somebody watching over me.
Yeah. There are a lot of your mom and your dad, a lot of people praying for you, Bobby. That's unheard of. Wow. How did that moment change? Did you realize how fortunate you were? Do you realize, like, there has to be a God?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it also taught me that going back home sometimes ain't always where you need to be.
Because everybody's not happy for your success, Bobby.
Right.
Even though you're from a small town, I mean, they saw you. I mean, the way I look at it, Bobby, if we're from the same small town, you had the same opportunity I had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it's a little different. I mean, I grew up with, my grandmother raised me. But I, for the most part, went to the same high school, pretty much did the same thing. So we all had an opportunity. Maybe it wasn't music. Maybe it was sports. Maybe it was you could have been a lawyer. Maybe you could have been a doctor. But you had an opportunity. What is it that you think that makes someone resentful of someone else's success?
I don't know. They believe that it should have been them in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's mind-boggling that people tend to get jealous of someone else's success.
Right.
When you should just bust your ass and work hard to be your own successful being.
Right.
Hey, shout out to Club Shay Shay and Bobby Brown, man. Powerful interview. Even right now, you listen to Bobby and he speak about, here it is, him and a friend of his was in Boston, and the guy was in his Bentley, and somebody let up like 178 shots, and he wasn't hit, but his man was murdered. But once again, Bobby can talk about that. But why haven't Bobby say yay or nay did he bail music out? Bimmy, a.k.a. Music, CI since 1985. Why haven't Bobby admit yay or nay, that he bailed Bimmy out for $2 million. That him and Whitney bailed Bimmy out for $2 million. I'm just, the inquiring mind want to know. He can talk about his Bentley. Shannon Sharpe asked him about his Bentley, about his friend being shot. And Bobby was open and freely about that. So once again, can we get Shannon to do a rebuttal and ask him about music? Did he and Whitney bail that cartoon character out for $2 million?
Kidnapping, weapon charges. Guess what happened? Yeah, I'm a minute. Because
Brian had associated himself with probably the most ruthless and notorious cocaine crack enterprise in the city, that being Howard Happy Mason and Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols.
NYPD rookie police officer was murdered, executioner style. And as I'm listening to that, I'm like, whoa.
You actually dealt with Brian Glaze-Lives, huh?
I dealt with him years ago, back in the 80s, early 90s. I was where he was arrested by my partner back in those days for several murders himself.
Not bad. I was given to me by a police officer in New York called Matt Byrne, whose son was gunned down by these drug dealers up there in New York City.
Glaze was probably within the top 10 people in the city, but I'm going to say that he was probably one of the top 2 or 3 in Brooklyn. Drug dealers, and controlled the drug organization.
And you know what I did? When I got the phone, I told my man, the next time we see him, he's out of here. Yeah. Less than 12 hours, that nigga was dead.
This is the second person you murdered?
No. Because, right now, if you're going by the timeline, by that time, there's a few more before him.
I heard so many good things about you. What I really like is, I know you're a tough guy. And I've known that for quite a while, and you changed your life, and you're coming around, and you're right. We're from New York. We're New Yorkers. No matter what color you are, no matter what religion you are, no matter what you are, we're New Yorkers.
Well, he was a drug kingpin himself. He was a drug lord himself back in those days, and he operated out of Brooklyn and East New York, and he committed a lot of violent acts himself. So if anybody knows the streets, he knows the streets.
Tottenham. Yeah, you gotta worry about them guys. But we only have to worry about those guys in Vanderveer and stuff. We all knew Glaze and Tutton, all those guys. Yeah. I know Glaze, Supreme Team. What up, Glaze? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Inside the Mind of a Killer, the Brian Glaze Gibbs story. Okay, I'll check that out.